In this part of video, we will look at international relations. What are the international relations that updations taken place in the June month? All these things we will discuss here. The first one is the UN General Assembly elections. This UN General Assembly elections recently was in news because of Maldives Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid has been elected as new president of the United Nations General Assembly for 2021 to 22. The president post of coming to the president post of the UN General Assembly. The post of president is held on annual basis. Every year, it is rotated among various regional groupings of the world. Recently, at 76th session of the UN General Assembly, that is 2021 to 22 related, is the turn for the Asia Pacific group to become the president. For this, the Maldives foreign minister elected as president Abdullah Shahid. This is the for the first time Maldives occupying the office of president of the UN General Assembly in the history. Coming to the what are the regional groupings of the UN General Assembly? When we see this is the grouping consists of uh, Asia Pacific. This is the Asia Pacific region, and this is the Africa region, and this is Western Europe, and this is Eastern Europe, and here the Latin American countries. With respect to the North America, also comes under the Asia Pacific group only. From here it extends. That's why 5 regions. The first one is the Asia Pacific and Africa, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Latin America, and Caribbean countries. This is the seating, generally reasons of the UN seating, all these things. Coming to the next things, that is the, again our article, Build Back Better World G7. Recently 47th 47th G7 summit was held between 11th to 13th June of 2021 in Cornwall in the United Kingdom, that is in the Britain. 47th G7 summit has occurred. One of the major outcome is the Build Back Better World. What is this Build Back Better World means? It is an initiative under the G7 countries as an outcome of 47th G7 summit. The initiative is designed, generally what is the aim of this initiative is Build Back Better World, designed to counter China's strategic influence, countering the China strategic influence. Why, how it provides means by providing an alternative to the Belt and Road Initiative of China for the infrastructural development of low and middle income countries. Generally, this G7 country, by using the initiative Build Back Better World, create infrastructural development in the low and middle income countries by countering the China's Belt and Road Initiative. What Belt and Road Initiative makes? The Belt and Road Initiative of China connects the China with strategic countries and strategic trading partners by developing the infrastructure facilities in the poorer countries, thereby making the countries in the debt trap of its pills policy. Uh, let's see about this China's Belt and Road Initiative map. When we see, this is the China's Belt and Road Initiative map. Here starts the China-Mongolia corridor, connecting the first one is China-Mongolia corridor, connecting China with the Russia, China, Russia and Mongolia corridor, CMR, that is the CMR corridor, China, Mongolia and Russia corridor. This is the first corridor. Coming to the second thing, from South China Sea to the India, Malacca Strait and through the Indian Ocean, Bangladesh, all these things. This is the Indo-China corridor, and connecting to the Colombo also. From here, it travels to the Africa. This is a maritime Silk Road, somewhat relates to the maritime Silk Road. The land Silk Road covers here, coming China to India, Pakistan, and there to the Central Asian Arab countries. This is the somewhat world Silk Road. This is the maritime Silk Road. And then from here to Africa, Africa to the here somewhat Gulf nations of the Africa, and from there to Egypt, from Egypt to Europe, connecting directly to the Italy. This is the one part of the corridor. China-Indo corridor to China Central and Western Asia corridor. This is the one thing. And here is the CPEC, that is China-Pakistan economic corridor. It also goes toward the India, that is the Pak occupied Kashmir also. It is this proposed corridor. That's why India is mainly opposing for this reason only, the Belt and Road Initiative. And coming to the other is from China to Central Asian countries such as Uzbekistan, all these things, and finally enters to the Europe. This is the new Eurasian land bridge, called as New Eurasian Land Bridge. And from China to Afghanistan and all these things, it will go through the Central Asia, and Central Asia to the somewhat Gulf nations, and finally enters into the Europe. This is the another corridor. This is all about the China's Belt and Road Initiative. Coming back to the article, let's see. It is led by generally this Build Back Initiative, Better World Initiative, generally led by the United States of America, and G7 countries will provide around $40 trillion money to the developing countries by 2035 under this plan for the infrastructural development. As a counter to the China, the funds will be generated from the private sector and will be invested to improve the conditions in the areas of climate, health, security, digital technology, and gender equality and equity. These are the things. And coming to the next thing, that is the other outcomes of this meeting include Caris Bay Declaration. What this Caris Bay Declaration says, the G7 signed Caris Bay Declaration aimed at preventing future pandemics. It prevents future pandemics. The G7 also pledged over 1 billion coronavirus vaccine doses to the poorer nations, with half of the vaccine doses will come from the United States and 100 million vaccine doses from Britain. And what this Caris Bay Declaration is all about, pandemics and climate change. Next outcome is climate change. It raised to contribute to meet an overdue spending pledge of US dollars of $100 billion a year to help poorer countries to cut carbon emissions, thereby stopping the industrial developments, all these things, giving $100 billion aid to the poorer nations. This is the climate outcome. And coming to the other things, G7 hit out at the China at its policies of human right and fundamental freedom violations in the Xinjiang province of the Uyghur Muslims. and also it stand at Hong Kong and unilateral attempts to change the status quo in the South China Sea on its own, declaring all South China Sea belongs to the China only. This type of comments. And coming to the next thing, that is the SIPRI report. Generally, every year, SIPRI publishes a report. This report mainly focuses on the defense developments in the world. This SIPRI stands for Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, in international, which researches on the international armament and conflict, which nation is having so much of arms, how much of military, all these things, it will give report on it. And coming to the key findings of this SIPRI report, this Stockholm International Peace Research Institute publishes different reports regarding the 2021. Coming to the nuclear arms of different countries, when we see 9 nuclear armed states present at this time in the world. What are these 9 means? Simply we can remember this. Let's see what are these countries. The first one is the in the North American and the South American countries. Only country is the USA. This is the Alaska only part of USA, and this is the USA. And then comes in the Europe, two countries, that is the United Kingdom, that is the Britain and France. And coming to the West Asia, only country Israel. And coming to the on the northern hemisphere, there is the Russia. And with respect to the South China Sea, Pakistan, India, China, and North Korea. India, China, previous British colonies, North Korea, India, Pakistan, and China, North Korea, they are the communist countries. This is the grouping. These 9 countries, simply we can remember. USA, in the North American, South American countries, Russia. These are the top countries we can easily remember. USA, Russia. That's why leave them two alone, Russia and USA. And in the Europe, when it comes, UK and France, these are the major prominent countries in the Europe. And Israel, to maintain, recently we seen the Palestine issue and lot many nuclear dome technology, all these things. That's why Israel, to protect it from the Arab nations and also from the Palestine conflict. That's why Israel, more developed country. That's the Israel. And coming to the South Asia, in our region, we know Pakistan having more than our country nuclear warheads. It is having 165. India only 156. Um, Pakistan, India. And coming to the China, automatically it is aggressive country having it. North Korea, it don't want relations with the either of the world. That's why it is having secret country. This is the grouping. Generally, these 9 countries, 9 nuclear armed states, possesses an estimate of 13,080 nuclear weapons at start of the 2021. Russia and US, both countries, constitute for 90% of the global nuclear weapons, which is having extensive and expensive modernization programs underway. China nuclear arsenal having 350 warheads. After these two countries, China is leading, and 320, only 320 warheads at the start of 2020. From 320 to 350 increased in 1 year. China is in the middle of the significant modernization and expansion of its nuclear weapon inventory. India possessed 156 nuclear warheads at start of 2021. Compared to 150 in the last year. While Pakistan has 165 warheads, it is having 160 in the start of 2020. And regarding to the other information, with regard to the military spending, India is the third largest military spending country in the world after USA and China. India spent almost nearly of mm, $73 billion, an increase of 2.1% in the year 2020 due to the China-India conflict. The major exporter nations and importing nations of these include, the first one is the USA. Share is 37% of the global export of the nuclear warheads. Second one is the Russia with 20%, and then stands France, then Germany, then China, then UK, then Spain, then Israel, then South Korea, then Italy. These are the top 10 military spending, military exporters of the world. Coming to the military importers, Saudi Arabia at its top with 11% share of importing, and second stands India with 9.5% of importing, Egypt 5.8%, Australia 5.1%, China 4.7%. Then Algeria, South Korea, Qatar, UAE, and Pakistan at 2.7%. These are the facts regarding these things. And coming to the next thing, that is the India Africa relations. Coming to the latest trends in the bilateral relations of India and Africa. India-Africa economic trade is on decline. That's why it is in news. Confederation of the Indian Industry in 2020 and 2021 says that Indian exports and imports from Africa stood respectively at 27.7 billion. This is the exports to Africa, and $28.2 billion. That is the imports to Africa, imports from to Africa. India exports $27.7 billion worth products to Africa, and India imports $28.2 billion worth of products from Africa. A reduction seen in exports 4.4%, and with respect to the imported products from Africa has declined 25% over previous year. India's investments in Africa too saw a decrease from $3.2 billion in 2019 and 2020, and $2.9 billion in 2021 and 2020 and 2021. Generally, yearly, a $1 billion investment has been declined. Total investments over 25 years from April 1996 to March 2021 are now just at $70.7 billion, which is one third of the China's investment in Africa. That is, we are only investing one third of the China's investments in Africa. And with respect to the India's top 5 markets today are South Africa, Nigeria, and Egypt, Kenya, and Togo. This is the areas where more Indian products will go from India. And the countries which India imports most are South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, Angola, and Guinea. These are the exports come from to the India. India's top 3 exports of Africa are mineral fuels. India exports mineral fuels and oils to the Africa, that is the processed petroleum products and pharmaceutical products, and also some vehicles. Coming to the top major imports from Africa include mineral fuels and oils only. These are crude oils and processed and then again sent to the Africa, and pills, precious and the semi-precious stones, that is with regard to the jewelry. This is the top major imports. And coming to the recent setbacks, uh, China, China factor plays a major role in the shifting of this all these things with respect to the Africa. What all the things means, China had successfully used the pandemic to expand its footprint by increasing the outflow of the vaccine of its vaccines. India's vaccine diplomacy has suffered a setback due to the second wave of the COVID-19, and a shortage of vaccine raw materials from the US has been seen during the second wave. And geopolitical tensions in the Asia in the 2020 has raised an imperative to consolidate position in the Indo-Pacific region only, compelled our country to concentrate on its ties majorly with the United Kingdom, EU, and Quad powers, particularly USA. Consequently, the attention normally paid to the Africa had lost out. What happened here is mainly due to the China's vaccine diplomacy. China had gone forward in many ways, and India's second wave had reduced the India's vaccine diplomacy a setback. And second thing is the geopolitical tensions in Asia uh, has increased India's position to concentrate only some reasons, that is the Indo-Pacific and the relations with the UK, EU, and Quad powers, majorly shifting from Russia to the USA. And what are the way forward mean? Restore Africa to its primary position in India's diplomatic and economic engagement. The third India Africa Forum Summit was held in 2015. From them, no summit has been held. The fourth summit has been pending since last year. Uh, it has to be held as soon as possible, even in a virtual format also. Fresh financial resources for grants and concessional loans to Africa must be allocated, thereby increasing the ties with the Africa. And to overcome China challenge in Africa, increased cooperation between India and its international allies rates a priority in this manner. The recent India EU summit has identified Africa as a region where partnership based approach will be followed. This is all about the international relations of the June 2020. That's all. Thank you.